Now on to the last problem. So the instructions basically just tell us to look at the doc test and figure out what cheapest does. So let's go there. So immediately from this first line, I can tell that there's probably going to be some kind of higher order, right? Because I'm calling cheapest 50, and this apparently returns me a function because then I'm passing in this string into cheap foods, right? So cheap foods becomes this function that whatever cheapest returns. Okay. So let's start with that. So I know that there's going to be some higher order function here. So, and it's going to take in some list. I'll just call it helper. It takes in a list. And in the end, I'm going to be returning helper. Cool. So now let's see what happens. So now we see that this helper function now returns us a list, right? Because we see that there's a list here. And in this list, we see that 23 and 27 are both less than 50, and 70 and 90, which are the ones that are greater than 50, are taken out of the list. So it's probably going to be something like all the foods that are cheaper than 50. So in this case, we see that none of the foods are cheaper than 20, so we have an empty list. And then we also see here that all the foods are also cheaper than 50, or all the foods here are cheaper than 10, so we have all of them in our return list. And we also take negative numbers too, so we don't have to worry about that kind of edge case thing. Cool. So, yeah. And it also tells us in here that it's less than the price and not less than or equal. So we have to make sure to keep that in mind. So in order to do this, I know that I'm going to have to return a list in helper. And right now I'm thinking to probably use some list comprehension. Right? So I want to use some list comprehension to create me the list that I'm going to eventually return. Because in this list comprehension, I can use conditionals to check against every single element inside the list with whether or not it's less than 50 or less than the given price. So I can return this list, and I'll return I for I in list as long as I is less than price. And so this will give me the list. This will return me a list, and it will take out everything that's greater than the price, greater than or equal to the price. And that's exactly what I want. And you actually have some extra lines here that you could have done kind of loops with too, but a list comprehension is just the quickest, and so it saves a lot of space.